Hi, I'm Pranati Kharbanda. I'm a master's student at the University of Amsterdam, currently doing my master thesis in Nikhef, particularly in the Atlas experiment at CERN. I'm also a part-time lab assistant at Nikhef, where we're building the new detector for Atlas called ITK detector, and I take some measurements to see if it's all working right. The research that I do is mostly focused on extending the standard model. So we know the standard model has some flaws in it, like it doesn't include gravity or dark matter. So the idea is to extend the standard model and say that it's the low energy approximation of some big fundamental theory, and that approximation we call the effective field theory, and that's what I am working on. And it has some constants, and my job is to put constraints on those constants. So we're building the inner tracker detector, which is ITK, at Nikhef. It's going to be placed inside the big Atlas detector that we have at CERN, and the idea is that it tracks particles so that we can measure the properties of the particles. What I do is that I have been taking some measurements on it, for example the resistance of the rods, so that if we put current through it and we apply voltage, everything is fine. Also taking the measurements of some of the parts, so if the parts actually fit together or not when we put everything together, and basically making more plots. A fun fact about working in a collaboration which is this big is that you get to travel a lot, and they're usually all expenses paid trips, and you get to meet people from all over the world that you wouldn't otherwise meet at all. And I think that's a really cool thing about working in a collaboration. If I could give some advice to women in science, it would be that do not think that science has a gender, because usually people do think that it has a gender because it's a mostly male dominated field. But we try to change things a bit, and don't let your curiosity die, and do not be afraid of failure, because there is one thing that I've seen in most of my classes is that if there are boys and girls, and if a girl wants to ask a question to the professor, they would usually start their question with, "Oh, I'm so sorry, this might be a naive question or stupid question," but and then they ask the question. And it's mostly something that I've observed in girls and not in boys, because they're either afraid of failure or they don't want to sound stupid, even if it's a perfectly legit question. I would advise to not do that, and to really not be afraid of failure and take risks, and don't let your curiosity die. What I like about my research is that I get to do something that nobody's ever done before, and it really excites me if there are results which were unexpected. And then we have these brainstorming sessions where we're like, okay, this is new, why is this there, why is this happening, and it fuels my curiosity. And I think that's the best part about my job.